The short answer is no, we shouldn't be worried, but I get into it later, looking at Dan's big 2024 end of the year FAQ. He gets into it and we will get into it at this timestamp, so if you want to skip, go there. Hey, welcome to Recap of Aether, the one-stop shop to get a quick recap of what happened in the Rivals community in the past week or so. I'm your host, Both Players, and I'm here to bring you the Rivals of Aether news that you're craving. Hey, it is Both Players from the future. So when I recorded this was Monday. You look at the bottom right screen right here, that's when I recorded this. Right now, it is Saturday midnight. That's because I was actually very, very close to the Eaton Canyon fires. I don't know if you guys saw the news, these crazy LA fires that are happening, but I was very, very close to one. In fact, I was like a block away from the fire line. So we had to evacuate and I could not do anything until right now. So a lot of this news is not the most current, it's a bit outdated, but hopefully it's still a good place to see everything aggregated into one video. Also, I basically had the video like 80-90% done, and so it would have been a waste of time and work if I just decided not to upload this. So I'm like, better late than never. Alright, with that out of the way, I'm gonna bring it back to past Both Players. So let's get right into the news first. Firstly, the Primal event is now live. Look at all these Primal skins. What a good idea for an event, honestly. I remember seeing the Crag event, or the Crag skin, for a long time. I don't know if it was leaked or something, but that was there, and I was like, wait, how do you get the skin? It's so sick. If you look at the trailer, you get to see all the skins that will be available, which is one for Forsburn. He looks like a alligator crocodile guy. That's kind of cool. No mask though. I don't know why they keep putting no mask Forsburn skins when one of his main things is masks, but whatever. That Crag skin is really sick. You just saw the Orcane skin. This Orcane skin is so cute. He's like a little Stegosaurus. Amazing. I love it. This trailer is really fun too. The one thing I was wrong about in my prediction is I thought that the free skin was going to be an Daedalus skin because he's going to be the new character, but it looks like the free skin is actually going to be the Maple skin. So we'll be getting a free Maple skin on the event track, and you can purchase the skin pack, which is Crag, Orcane, and Forsburn, which is really cool. I seriously can't wait for all the other events. There's gonna be 12 events this year. There's gonna be so many skins. Next small news, in the competitive world, Ion gets signed by Paragon. If you don't know who Ion is a really strong Crag player who's won, I think, one of the biggest coin box tournaments. Very, very sick player, very cool. I mean, Crag is just, I think, high level Crag, annoying to play against, but also very, very fun to watch. So yeah, right here, this is the tournament that he won. He beat Void, Grompy, Cake Assault, Mango, Stango, BioBurb, and Zeus the Goose. This is a very impressive showcase. Clearly this was an online tournament, but it still shows that he's a very strong player. And now that he's a competitor for Paragon, we might be seeing him more in IRL tournaments, which is super exciting. Speaking of IRL tournaments, the first big major of Rivals 2 happened last weekend, which was Luminosity Makes Big Moves. This was a super sick tournament, and it actually had a lot of entrants. To be exact, it was 253, which for reference, Heatwave, which was the largest Rivals focused tournament of last year, had 176 entrants. So clearly, it's a little bit different because Heatwave, since it's only about Rivals, the pool is much smaller, where in this tournament it has Smash, so a lot of Smash players are probably joining the Rivals 2 bracket. But still, it's very exciting to see that the number is growing. We'll have to see how many people show up for Genesis, but it's a good start. And as you can see, the winner of this tournament was Cake Assault. If you're unfamiliar, Cake Assault was a top player, I think #1 in Rivals of Aether 1. He's trying to maintain his spot as the best player in this game as well. But something to note, second place is Spargo, which is the best player in Ultimate. I don't know. I'm just super excited because it goes to show that you can be a top player in Smash and Rivals. Because I think for a while, the Rivals community had this kind of like superiority complex that, oh, we played Rivals of Aether 1, we'll be better than you guys. But Spargo has only been playing for a few months, and he almost beat Cake Assault. It was a 2-3, it was 3-2, it was crazy. He was, I think, the only one to take games off of Cake Assault, which is super exciting. I love to see it. And I really hope Spargo continues to play Rivals of Aether 2. Because not only will it create hype and storyline of the #1 player of Rivals of Aether defending his spot from outside gamers, if he becomes like the #1 player in Rivals 2, that guy is literally the best platform fighter of all time. It's gonna be crazy. But to address the elephant in the room, if you guys don't know, there is another player named Marlin, formerly known as Kusi, who was contender as the best Rivals of Aether 2 player as well. He was a very, very strong player in Rivals of Aether 1, but he actually got a 2-month ban in November, which banned him from attending LECS, plat fights, and Let's Make Big Moves. So unfortunately, the arguably actual contender for the other #1 could not be at this tournament, so we don't know if Marlin or Cake Assault is the actual best player so far. Fortunately, he will be able to play at Genesis, so this is going to be very exciting to see if Marlin can make his name back on top, or if Cake Assault is going to defend his title. Future players here. Turns out there's also a patch note, patch 1.0.5. So this is something else that we should look at. What are the new patches? For one, some general changes. It looks like what they're changing to matchmaking is adding an accept match modal. If a match is found and the server spun up is not in the user's region preferences, the accept match modal is triggered. So basically, if you have certain regions selected as your preferred regions and they can only find a match outside of that region, you'll be given a little menu that asks you if you want to accept the match anyway or you want to cancel and keep searching. From what I understand, this should only happen if you get matched with someone outside of your region, but I think this is a really nice thing to add for people who would rather wait than to play at a region that they don't want to play at. Improved matchmaking server selection, 2-step matchmaking flow. Alongside the accept match modal, the matchmaking process should now place you in a location matching your region preference more often, only falling back to our existing load balance method if unable to spin up server on one of the matching locations. If your match falls back and is load balanced, the accept match modal allows you to accept deny the load balanced server choice. I think this is just in tandem with the first thing. You should be able to get matches in your preferred region more frequently, but if not, you'll get this match modal. There are some minor fixes with the results, but I don't think that's too important to look at. The event is happening, you get all these skins, the free skin track, the paid skin track, and some universal gameplay changes that they are trying to do. There's a lot actually. Many moves have their knockback scaling increased, most of which also had their base knockback decreased. This change aims to make medium strength moves viable kill options at high percents, but they're also decreasing the base knockback of some of these moves to make sure they don't lose their mid% combo utility or KO too early. I think this is a generally good change because it seems that a lot of people feel that moves don't kill as early as they think they should, or the only way to secure KOs, like they say here, at higher percents is with specific setups. Ledge grab boxes have been shrunk for every character. Oh, that's actually super interesting. One of the most common pieces of feedback that we receive is that recoveries are too strong. Many factors contribute to this, but one of the most significant is the generosity of ledge grab boxes. By shrinking ledge grab boxes, we hope to give players more options when edge guarding, since the opponent will be more vulnerable when grabbing the ledge. Oh. Okay, so I'm a little conflicted about this because this would make edgeguarding better and a more viable option, but I think the ironic thing is this is better for competitive play and high level play, but I think this is actually worse for low level play, for the casual base. Casual players are now going to have an even harder time recovering. Granted, recovering isn't that hard in this game to begin with, but I mean, I think that's one of the reasons why future smashes are a lot more popular than Melee. Yes, Melee may be the more competitively viable game, the more actually skill-based game, but that means nothing if there's not going to be a lot of people playing. So I understand this change, and it makes sense to me, but I am afraid that this is going to push away the casual base even further, but we'll see what happens. Many recovery moves are now locked out of fast falling until later in the attack, again with the recovery nerfs, which as a player, I love this. I love this because freaking characters like Zetter, I swear to God, they just up B and fall so fast that I'm like, there's no recovery at all. This is crazy. B reverses now always happen at a specific frame. I guess to make this more consistent, you can no longer reverse up specials on frame 1 when using them out of shield release or jump squat states. This prevents reverse up specials out of shield. Oh, interesting. You can still B reverse them normally. Bottom blast zone is now 1 meter lower if you're not in hit stun. Okay, so this makes it less likely for a player to die first when spiking an opponent near the bottom of the blast zone. Cool, so there's like a hit stun blast zone and a regular blast zone. So if you're in hit stun, you'll die earlier. Or rather, I guess it's more accurate to say you'll die later if you're not in hit stun. This lets you go deeper for edge guards without having to risk dying. Medium hit stun can now be wall teched on the frame you get hit. Okay, unlike heavy hit stun, you cannot wall tech during hit pause or during the knockback trajectory. This change adds counterplay to situations where characters are repeatedly using weak moves to hit their opponents against the wall. I guess this is similar to something like Arcane down air, I suppose, where it's like constantly hitting with weak moves, so they can't really tech. But this should give the option to tech. I'm not sure if Arcane counts as medium hit stun or low hit stun, but we'll have to play and see. You can no longer input a wall tech during the last 6 frames of hit pause. Now you must input the tech before getting hit. I guess this is to make it one more consistent, but also be something that you have to preemptively press instead of on reaction, I have to assume. The logic for pressing grab to release ledge is now processed after the logic for releasing ledge with backwards down input. This allows for buffered actions the grab button when releasing ledge. Okay, so I guess if you have grab set to something like neutral air and you jump neutral, like jump grab, you'll have the neutral air come out instead of doing the grab button. Jump inputs will now take priority over parry inputs while in the shield release state. I think this is the same thing as well. Same idea, so that when you use parry for an option, you can input that instead of just using the parry. No impact landing can no longer be performed if an aerial lands outside of its auto cancel windows. No impact landing gives you 0 landing lag if you with nearly 0 vertical momentum. Being able to do this mid attack was often confusing and reported as a bug, since the landing lag animation would be cancelled instantly. Now you must land the first 4 frames of an aerial after the IASA frame in order to trigger a no impact landing while attacking. I guess this is just to make it more obvious what's going on instead of it looking buggy, which is a good change. Fast falling after dropping to a platform will now require your joystick to be below minus 0.08 instead of minus 0.02875. This means you will not fast fall while holding the walk modifier after dropping through a platform. Okay, so this is specifically a change made when using the walk modifier. Okay, so I am just a news guy. This is a lot of patches. If you want to look at the patch notes in completion, you can look at this. I'll link this in the description or in the comments maybe, so you can take a look at everyone specifically. But generally speaking, I think these are the most important changes. Knockback scaling that is different. Recoveries are nerfed generally speaking. Some quality of life changes with buttons. Yeah, so I think that's basically it. I'm sure there are other creators who have a deeper dive into the patch notes, especially top players who understand what the changes mean for their characters. But that's it for now. Alright, so next I want to get into leaks. So this isn't necessarily new information. I did find this like a month ago, but I didn't see anyone talk about it, so I want to bring it up here. There actually has been fleet skins that have been data mined. Alright, future both players back again. Man, since I didn't post this video when it was intended, so much stuff has come out that debunks everything I put. So it's no longer leaks. It is now officially out by Off-Brand Games that these 3 skins are from the backer tier who paid so much that they got to pick any character to design their own skin for, and they all chose Fleet. So these are 3 Fleet designs from the backers: Pajama Fleet, Fan Fleet, and Princess Fleet. Or Badger Princess Fleet. But anyway, since it's official, you can actually vote here. Go to this straw poll and vote for which of these 3 skins get added first. I would have gotten this out earlier, but again, we had unprecedented fires in LA, so I couldn't be back home until today. So really funny. I will go back to past both players who still thinks it's a leak, but you can just say, haha, both players, it's not a leak anymore. You don't have to spoiler alert. But if you are interested to see what the next fleet skins are, here they are. So first is the fan costume, which is created as a part of the Kickstarter tier skin in the game, which allowed a backer at this tier to design a skin to appear in the game. So this seems to be a skin that a backer designed. Very, very cute. It's like a go to school, like high school AU type of design. She might have braces, I'm not sure, but big glasses, a little cute rainbow bow, a fun little graphic t-shirt, and long socks. Very, very cute design. And here are the different color variations for it. Okay, so as it turns out, the fangirl fleet actually isn't a leak because it was shared by the creator December 19th. They shared it right here. Look at it in action. Wow. Cute. Fangirl. And in fact, if you want a early code, this person has a few codes to give away for Fangirl Fleet. You can get it earlier than it will be available in the shop. And all you have to do is retweet their post and reply with why you should get the code. Wow, you can get Fangirl. You can be one of 3 people to get Fangirl Fleet early. Wow, amazing. The next skin seems to be the Princess skin. Unknown when this will come up, and maybe for a new event track, but this is a skin for Fleet with the little princess crown. Oh my god, wait, this is a Peach skin. Wait, that's so funny. This is the arrow is a turnip. Clearly this is a Peach inspired skin because Fleet has float. Very, very cute. That's hilarious. I didn't even notice this when I first looked at it. Here are the different colors. Very awesome. The next skin, this is really sick. This is super sick. This is the pajama skin. Apparently it has a special Kickstarter palette, which I'm not sure what that means or why that exists. But this is the pajama skin. Got a cute little onesie, a little owl hood, a cape, a very fluffy looking bow with a big old paw on it, and a star arrow. Very, very cute. This is super exciting because I was feeling that like Fleet has very little, if any, rare or legendary skins. All of them have been like reskins of different animals, like a husky skin or like a fox skin, or she's already a fox, or like other animals. Yeah, there's the husky, there's the Sunny, which looks like Sunny the dog. Well, that's it. In Aussie, that's not a lot, but it looks like she's getting a lot of love in the future. And the next skin is this badger skin. Again, we don't know when this will come up, but it has a badger look. I think Maple also has a badger skin. So it'd be kind of cute to do a little 2v2, the badger team. So it looks like these two skins, the badger and the princess, are actually one and the same. For some reason, when it was data mined, it was put as separate skins, but it looks like they are the same skin. Very interesting. Not sure what that's about. But yeah, that's about it for these new skins. Really cool to see some love for Fleet. And I hope to see a lot of skins for the other characters as well. And a question to you guys, what other characters do you think deserve some love in terms of like legendary and rare skins? I know like Loxodon has been getting a lot of good skins. And I'm a Loxodon player, so I'm loving it. But I would like to spread that love to the other characters as well. Alright, next, let's take a look at Twitter, which I think might be the biggest piece of news for today. If you guys don't know, the studio lead of Rivals of Aether, Dan Fernacey, who was the sole creator and designer of Rivals of Aether 1, but now he's the studio lead of the new game, he has made an article on Twitter recently to address a lot of the concerns that fans seem to have about his game. So real quick, as he says here, I was, however, able to read a ton of Reddit, Nolt, and Twitter discourse about Rivals of Aether 2 on my phone while rocking a baby, so I did what any sane person would do. I let the comments seep into my soul and ruin my spirits until I can get home and write up a response to some of these recurring topics that I saw. Without further ado, here are some of the questions and answers. So, if you guys didn't think the developers looked at your comments, fun fact, they do. So let's see what he says. What's the deal with server and netcode issues? So I don't know if you guys noticed, but in a lot of places like Nolt and Reddit, there has been a lot of complaints about the servers. People have been saying that the servers may be the one thing that is preventing them from really enjoying the game. There's a lot of issues with connectivity, rollback, and like jitteriness. Ultimately, it looks really rough. So what Dan is saying is that there are probably a lot of factors going on here, and that players are probably just lumping all the bad online experience together as server issues just because they don't really know the ins and outs of what's going on under the hood, which makes a lot of sense. That's generally what people do. The first factor is simply routing. A company like Riot has custom network infrastructure to create a superhighway of sorts of routing for as many internet service providers as possible. When some people have ping issues to a random server close to them, it's not because of the quality of the servers or the game performance once it's running on the server, but rather their ISP not taking a good route to the server and causing higher ping. So basically what he's saying is that a lot of internet connectivity is actually more so how good the structure, like the infrastructure is, the routing to the servers. And because that's on the ISP end, there's not really a quick fix for them to do other than looking into alternatives when it comes to server providers. But this is something that they are trying to figure out. We actually had this issue, but much worse in the Kickstarter betas when we were using our previous provider, as a few large ISPs were consistently taking bad routes when people didn't use a VPN. So unfortunately, this part doesn't seem to be something that is going to be quickly fixed. A company like Riot is able to have a lot of influence to ISPs so they can create these really nice highways, but I'm confident that eventually something like this will be done for Rivals of Aether II. The next point that Dan wants to make is that the game is still being optimized. So Dan is saying that a lot of computers use a lot of their CPU when they're playing Rivals of Aether. When the rollback frames go up, your game is doing more computational work every frame to keep the delay frames low. So when the rollback combines with your FPS dropping, the experience can feel a lot worse even though the game is technically running fine on the server. So that is something that they can work on fixing because it is on the game side. So hopefully through the years of development coming forward, they are able to address that. The next is that we had some issues with matchmaking and our own systems that have gone down, which make the servers feel more unstable than they really are. We had a patch during the holiday break, which broke the queuing for a few hours and had nothing to do with our servers, but does create an air of negativity around the online experience, which we are looking to resolve. So yeah, it's another thing where any problem with the servers, even if it's not the servers itself, will compound the negative feelings that the player base has. Next, the server locations that are available and the region's overrides are not consistent. So this is something I did learn from here. How their servers work is that they rent out server space and spin up the servers on demand depending on the location of the players who are requesting a server. So depending on when you queue, there might not be a lot of options available in your preferred regions because there are not a lot of people in that region queuing up to that server. I think this is a way to save money because otherwise a server will have to be on constantly. But Dan says this is something they are working on with their server provider directly in order to improve the experience and assign some more designated regions that don't spin down to zero to satisfy our current player base. So this is something they're currently working on and hopefully it gets fixed very soon. And finally, what Dan is saying is that sometimes it can be a problem on the player end itself. If you ever played an ongoing online multiplayer game and checked a tweet of a patch, you can often see a ton of comments saying that the patch broke online for them, when most likely something changed in their setup since the last time they played. While we are trying to fix as much as we can, it's easy to get lost in the noise on these issues as not everyone is running into them. So yeah, these issues very frequently are individual. It's not like a consistent thing that they can see. So it's really hard for them to keep track of what is actually a problem and what is on the player side. All this to say, it does look like they are looking into the server issues. It is very clear that the online experience isn't the most smooth for a lot of people, so the Rivals team is definitely looking into it. The next thing they want to address is the idea that the Steam player numbers are going down. I don't know if you saw this on Reddit as well, but there have been quite a number of posts about the dwindling player base. This one in particular is the one I saw. Dwindling player count. I wanted to get the community's feeling on the current trajectory of the game and maybe some opinions on what I think the solution is. So basically, they're worried that the game is going down in numbers because the all-time peak was like 6,708. I think it was actually 10K concurrent viewers in the beginning, but now it's sitting around like 900 to 1,000 or so. So here is what Dan has to say. This is a discussion that I saw spin up recently, and I see people who are concerned about the game or people who don't like the game and are validated in seeing the Steam chart numbers go down. First, I'd like to say that our player count thus far has been amazing and honestly exceeded our expectations at launch and is still up today, especially since Rivals 2 is built as a fighting game, which is much more niche than other multiplayer games that you can pick up on Steam. I think the main thing that Dan wants to let us know is that this is not something they didn't expect. In Rivals 1, it had a very similar thing going on, where it had a lot of dips in the player base with mostly spikes around new character releases and Steam sales. It wasn't really until the addition of Steam Workshop that we were able to create and maintain a higher floor for our player base. So that's what they expected for Rivals 2. I expect Rivals 2 to function very similarly, although with a much higher starting point, and hopefully not dipping as low as the 50-60 concurrent players that Rival 1 enjoyed in 2016 and 2017. This is why we are prioritizing Steam Workshop and other big features that can blow out the floor player base, while we are also working on new content to create some smaller peaks until we can hit those big features. Basically, no, there's nothing to worry about. It is natural for a fighting game to have a lot of peak players in the beginning, but slowly dwindling down because honestly, Rivals 2 of a lot of platform fighters, it's a very hard game to get into. Unfortunately, for now, there are not a lot of things that the casual player can enjoy. I think the one thing that Smash has going for it, other than the fact that it has a lot of Nintendo characters, is the fact that it's a super casual experience to pick up and play. Especially the casual modes with items, fun stages, free-for-all battles, time battles. It allows for an experience that anyone can jump in and play and potentially win, while in a game like Rivals 2, it's very stompy. If you are better than a player, then you are likely going to stomp on them. I mean, this is true for fighting games in general, even like Street Fighter, Tekken, BlazBlue, etc., Guilty Gear. So this is something they mentioned before, is that they launched this game knowing that it'll basically appeal mostly to the core base, the like hardcore fighting game players. The plan is, in a few years when they have a lot more features, to release the console version of the game, which hopefully appeals more to the casual audience, because I believe that most of the casual player base would be console players. And ideally, by that point, they have a lot more characters, a lot more casual modes, and a campaign, and just a lot more things to do instead of just ranked 1v1. Why are you making new characters and skins instead of some other thing I want? Okay, so I saw some people complaining about servers or missing tutorials, and then complaining about how we still have time to release new skins each month or announce a character for next January. So the thing that Dan wants to let us know is that things are very generally being developed in parallel. So while they are developing these features, they are also developing the characters and skins at the same time. So things are working in tandem. Do not worry, this making skins and other characters does not mean that they are detracting time from other things. They have a bigger team, which is able to allocate a different amount of time to each feature. The biggest thing is that cosmetics and other characters is that it will bring more income to the studio. And unfortunately, because this game is kind of a live service game, they need income in order to support their employees and in order to make the game the best they can. So while you may think that skins isn't the most important thing, because that is their secondary income source, they kind of need to prioritize it in order to get the other things done. Why is my favorite character weak and my least favorite character strong? So there's been a lot of complaints about why this character is weak, this character is strong, but what Dan has noticed is that a lot of people disagree on which one was which is actually a good thing. It's a good thing that people have varied opinions on who's too strong, who's too weak, but what it also means is that the general feelings people have about this is not too much of a concern. The thing is, like Dan says, just meta changes and top players taking breaks are going to shift the perception of the roster dramatically without us doing anything. Like if people just develop a character, they will realize certain characters are stronger than we thought. Like in Melee, for example, low tier characters like Yoshi and Donkey Kong were thought to be trash until players like Amsa and Junebug were able to make waves with these supposedly bad characters. And now suddenly, they are not low tier anymore, but like high tier. Dan says, it's easy to get impatient when the gaming world moves quickly, but we are planning to work on Rivals of Aether 2 for a very long time, and we will be adjusting the roster balance as we go. So he wants to maintain that balance is a marathon, not a sprint. They're not going to reactively nerf and buff everything that people complain about every single time, because given some time, that people will learn to develop new strategies against it. So if you're too reactive, you might change things for the worse. So I think it's really good that they are taking their time to really observe how people behave with these different balance changes in order to make better changes in the future. Dan says, secondly, everyone has their own opinion on what's strong and weak, especially early in the game's lifespan. We're listening to feedback and seeing how a character's strengths line up, but when watching tournaments right now, we are mostly looking for strategies or interactions that we can look and say, that's not okay. Whether it's buggy, tedious, or most frequently unintuitive. Small things like a move not KOing when it looks like it should, or bigger things as the game evolved would only become worse. But don't worry, because we'll also cook up some buffs as we go. We'll save the bigger changes in between live tournament sessions so we can schedule it right. Why don't you change the system mechanics to match things I like? Dan says, similar to Balance, I've seen a lot of requests to update the system mechanics closer to the game that people are most familiar with. I've seen requests for drift DI, shield poking, more whiff lag, less whiff lag, better auto shield options, worse CC, removal, all these things. Our Nolt board is a great place to see discussion if you're interested in how varied the requests can get. Now, there's a couple things going on here. I think many players are correctly identifying issues. Whiff punishing can feel hard at times, or people feel like they live for too long. There are other issues that our team is tracking, but many players are quickly going to another game solution for these problems, and diagnosing the root issue in the gameplay is a lack of this one feature. It's especially entertaining when it's Rivals 1 exclusive feature that we obviously considered because, well, we made it. He's referring to whiff lag. I found this funny too. There's been posts where people are like, oh, what really hurts this game is the lack of whiff lag. Even though whiff lag is like an exclusively Rivals 1 mechanic, because there'd be players like, I'm from Melee and whiff lag, the lack of whiff lag feels really bad. I'm like, there's no whiff lag in Melee. There's no whiff lag in any other game. So I'm glad to see that Dan finds it as interesting as I do. But what Dan wants to maintain is that Rivals of Aether II is a completely different game from Rivals of Aether and other platform fighting games. It is its own game that needs its own solutions. So you can't really look to Melee to be like, oh, this is how Melee solves it, that's how we will solve it. Or you can't even look to Rivals 1 to see that's how Rivals 1 solves it, so we should solve it like that. Fundamentally, Rivals 1 is a different game because of the lack of shields and ledges. And I think it's easy to look at these comparisons because people love games like Rivals 1, they love Melee, that they think it's a more perfect game. It's really easy to pull solutions that they have to this game. But the reality is, every sequel is different from the last. Even if you look at games like Smash Brothers and even Street Fighter, each iteration is pretty different from the last iteration. Smash 64, much different than Melee, which is much different than Brawl, which is much different than Smash 4, which is a little similar, but again, much different than Ultimate. You can't look at a game like Melee, which has mechanics like wave dashing and how good it feels, and say, oh, you know what Ultimate needs for better movement options? Wave dashing. It's not a game that has wave dashing. You can't just stick that in there to solve a problem. You have to solve it within the confines of its own mechanics. And I think that's what Dan is trying to say with Rivals 2. Yes, there are mechanics from previous games and other games that has worked in those respective titles, but it just might not work in Rivals 2, or it will just make Rivals 2 a little too samey to the other games. I know a lot of people have said that Rivals 2 has become too much like Smash or too much like PM and has kind of lost something from Rivals 1. And to a point, I understand what they're coming from, but I think that's just because Rivals 1 was such a different game. Also, sorry, if you hear this, there's a leaf blower going outside. Sorry about that. The last thing that Dan wants to address is the idea that this game should have been released as early access. The one question that I see brought up a lot, and it's a fair point, with many casual features missing, why didn't we launch with an early access badge on Steam instead of a full launch? The short answer is money. The long answer is money! So basically, the studio was running really low in funds. Dan mentions right here, the Kickstarter was just enough to get us to launch in fall 2024, just enough as in we hit $0 in the business account in November right before the first payment came in from Rivals of Aether II from Valve. So they expended all the money they had to make this game. And so if they delayed it or made it early access, the studio would have no money to continue development. So they needed to launch the game right away and have a source of income in order to make the game as good as possible. Dan felt okay about doing this because there were games such as League of Legends and Rocket League that grew in features as the games grew. So even though it was very bare bones in the beginning, eventually as a live service game, it got more features and got to be a more full game. Dan says, while Rivals of Aether 2 had a great launch, we're not out of the woods yet. We need to quickly prioritize the big features with our current funds in order to expand the game's appeal funnel before we run out of money again. We're balancing this with consistent updates to bring in revenue off cosmetics to offset the burn post-launch. We are working to make sure that a future console release is loaded up with single-player content, improved optimization, better menus, and more. If you would like to consider that the full release of the game and wait for it until you can tell your friends to hop in, then by all means go ahead. I think that's the intention. The console release of the game will fundamentally be the definitive edition of Rivals of Aether II. He ends the Q&A by saying, you don't have to agree with my choices, and we don't expect people to give us the benefit of the doubt or toss extra money at us because we are indie or because we are trying really hard. But I hope by being transparent, you can see that pretty much everything that is discussed on these websites has been considered. Some things are in motion, some things didn't work out, and some things need a little more time to see how they shake out. So if you had worries that Dan and the team weren't listening to player complaints, that is just not true. They are working on it consistently. And on this article, people have asked different questions, and Dan has given some time to respond to them. So we'll take a look at some of his replies. For example, here, very cool, I dig it. Remove reverse strong hitboxes, thanks. In response to that, Dan says, I'll be honest, I don't like them either. Apparently there's nuance and people like going for them, I've been told, and some I'm cool with, like reverse fleet back air, but some I'm not cool with are Zetter fair and Crag fair. I'll keep trying to get them removed or nerfed. And this is something that Dan has said, is that he's no longer the lead designer and developer of the game. He is the studio lead and he's able to steer the ship, but he's trying to give some trust to the team. Mechanics like reverse hitboxes is something that he and the team have to talk about instead of just Dan forcing his way into the team. And finally, here's the Rivals Reddit roundup. Let's see what the people are thinking about, are talking about, are posting about in the Rivals of Aether subreddit. I'm probably just gonna go through the top of the week and then some of the hot things going on today. But before I go really into it, some things I want to highlight are these little surveys that people have done in the community. The sample size is a little small, but I think it gives a general idea of how people feel about certain aspects of the game. For example, for this one, how often do you find yourself dealing with rollback and strange netcode issues? And it seems like most people find some kind of problem. 26 and 14 say rarely and never. Majority of people say every session. Some people say every other session. Quite a few people say at least every couple sessions. So there seems to be an issue very frequently. But the feeling in general is that something is up with the servers, and like I showed in the Twitter Q&A, Dan is working on it. I find this really interesting as well. There's 245 votes, a much larger sample base, even though it's still small, but this is very interesting. Just curious, there have been quite a few posts talking about having frustrations with the game in spite of its obvious positive attributes, like the game engine feeling very pristine. Crouch canceling, lack of kill power, low percent grab, shield pressure, neutral defining tools like Crag Rock, and tech situations. These are just some of the things that this user has posted. And what's interesting to me is that overwhelmingly, it's a lack of kill power. Also crouch canceling, which again, I think just the idea of getting punished on hit is what's frustrating, not specifically crouch canceling, but a lack of kill power. I guess a lot of people think that moves should kill sooner than they do, which is crazy because characters like Zetterburn be killing me at like 100 even though I'm the heaviest character in the game. This is crazy. Other, recoveries being too strong, nigh unedge guardable sometimes. Not gonna lie, I didn't put this in the poll because that was just me. So another thing that people don't like is that recoveries are too strong. Whiff lag is the biggest offender currently, which is so, I don't know, the lack of whiff lag I think is really funny. Like I mentioned before, because it's not a mechanic that exists in any other plat fighter or in any fighting game at all. It's a mechanic specifically for Rivals 1 as a way to combat the fact that there are no easy defensive options like shielding. Whiff lag made movement more of the defensive option than actual defensive options, which is, I guess, what people really like about Rivals of Aether 1. But I just find it funny that so many people are complaining about it. And don't get me wrong, I love whiff lag as well. Like I do want whiff lag back in the game because I think despite shields existing, having the option for movement to be a defensive option is not a bad thing. This is fun to see what is the most used controller for Rivals of Aether. GameCube by far #1, then followed by that is Xbox, then the PlayStation, then the Switch Pro. I don't know what 8-bit do is, and then the Hitbox Arcade. So very, very interesting. I get why GameCube is the most popular because it's a Smash clone, but I do think GameCube is the least optimal, one of the least optimal options because of the lack of 2 shoulder options. But it's fun to see what the community uses. And this one, which game did you come from? This 265 total votes. So which game are you from when you played Rivals of Aether 2? And interestingly, Rivals of Aether 1 isn't on top, which I think was by design, but wow. Most people are from Ultimate or even Melee. Granted, again, this is only 265 votes, which is a small sample size. It is from a group of people on the subreddit who play a game right now catered to competitive, so it makes sense that these two are number one. These are bigger games than Rivals of Aether 1 were, but I still find it very interesting that Rivals of Aether 1 is the second least. Oh, this guy, mostly melee, but I have 800 hours of Rivals 1. Yeah, weird not to see Rivals 1 on top since we were the Rivals sub. I was sure I wouldn't be in the minority. Yeah, because I would consider myself an Ultimate player because that is the game I was the most active in competitively, but I played a lot of Rivals of Aether 1, so I understood, you know, the basics of this game. All right, so let's look at the top content of this week. Like I mentioned, the Primal event is happening. It's happening right now. Actually, I don't think it's happening right now. It's happening Tuesday. Well, if I upload this on Tuesday, then it's happening right now. Next, I got my Absa tattoo. Am I the first to get a Roa tattoo? I don't think you're the first, but dang, that's a big ass Absa tattoo, man. My God, I mean, hey man, tattoos are sick. I'm a person who, I don't get tattoos because the idea of a permanent thing scares me, but that is some dedication. I very much doubt you're the first, but still cool. Source? Yeah, I was gonna say, Rivals of Aether has been out for a long time. I mean, there's one tattoo. What is that? Wait, what is that? Oh, it's like a dragon arcane? Whoa, that's so scary. Arcane's a cute little guy. Why do you make him so scary? Jesus. Please watch this stock from Stengo, one of the craziest combo I've seen in a fighting game. Okay, so Stengo, I believe, is the Zetterburn. Let's watch this combo.
I know I have one thing. My brain data is faster. So I'm constantly be pressing buttons.
Oh, gross!
Can't stop.
Stop
this man.
My God, the up and down, up and down, up and down. I think that's a thing that Rivals of Aether 2 is going to have a lot of, is like up-down combos. People like forcing people up, knocking them back down, and forcing them back up again. Very Falco-esque. Next, Fleet and Arcane mains trying to find a decent mirror match. Wait, do you want to find mirror matches? Okay, question for you guys. Do you like mirror matches or do you prefer to fight other players? I will say there are a lot of these other guys. Rano and Zetter, they just happen to be the two most simple, easiest characters to pick up, so a lot of people will play them, as well as Clarin. Yeah, the Rogue Clarin, Crag, and Loxodont. But there are a lot of these guys. What do the people think? Raster not even appearing. Raster, is that like a secret character or something? Yeah, nobody plays Raster. Which is gonna be, I believe Marlin plays Raster. So if he comes back with Raster, it's gonna be so exciting because people are gonna be like, oh my God, Raster is actually good. Because Marlin goes crazy on that Raster. I do think the floor of Raster is just so high. It's really hard to be good with that character. But when you get good, he be schmoovin', man. He be schmoovin'. Anytime I see another Raster, we always taunt at the start of the match. It's like we're stoked to see each other. That's what I'm saying. So how are you enjoying Rivals 2? It's weird they chose to go tabletop instead of a Steam release. I've seen this game. I think I have this game actually. This is like a, let's see, Pocket Paragons is a card game that is like a fighting game but cards, and they actually skin it with a bunch of different IP, and one of them is Rivals of Aether. I actually never got to play, but it is super cool. It's really cool to see. Ballin'! Woo, this is fun! That's hilarious. I really like the style. Very simple, but very, very striking. This is the end of the year distribution for Rivals 2. Ooh, okay. I don't remember what the Rivals 2 rank distribution was for the previous ones, but I think slightly less silver. I think it's been pouring out to the other ranks like gold and bronze and stone. Actually, let me see if I can look it up. So this was from 2 months ago, where 25% were gold, 48 was silver, 18 was bronze, and 1.1 were stone. So a little bit less silver, a lot more bronze, a little bit less gold, and a lot more stone actually. Stone was very, very low. And now it has been equalized. There are more players in stone, which for stone players, more players for you to play. That's exciting. Plat is still about 5% since the beginning. Diamond has increased a little bit from 8% or 0.8% to 1.3, which is about 50% increase. And Masters is up from 0.2% to 6%. Which makes sense since you can get to these ranks simply by increasing your numbers. As long as you're grinding and winning, you are able to jump to these places. It's really interesting actually that plat has stayed relatively the same though. So lower players are getting matched into their lower ranks more frequently, and the higher ranks are getting increased as well. Doing this felt illegal. What did you do? What did you do, Cosmic Nor? Bing, boom. Oh. Yeah, I mean, that's a Crag classic. That's a Crag classic. The Crag has to be a lot trickier with their timing. They can't just up B. They can't just up B, man. Yes, similarly, Crag killing Pillar with Fleet's down special feels so wrong. Or Maple's neutral B. Yeah, killing Crag Pillar, if you don't know, they just go to free fall and die. I remember at Genesis, I was screaming at my screen, someone just break his pillar. Yeah, if the Crag just jumped right after up B instead of just staying on it, he would have had enough time to escape, but he didn't know. He didn't realize that the rock could kill him. Superb clone. This is just Force Burn and like, this is just it. This is just it. Am I missing something? Why did it have so many upvotes? I love a special win screen for Force Burn where he wins a Ditto and you can see the losing player was actually a clone he used to train. Oh, that's so fun! If they did custom win screens, that would be really, really cute. Oh, you thought it was a meme. No, it was me, Force Burn. That's what I'm saying. It's just so random. I don't understand. This game is so sick. Let's see this sick game. Bing bang. I bet it's the Zetter, huh? This is... Okay. Yes, it's sick. You're the Zetter. You're doing cool stuff. But as a Zetter hater, what is this? As a Zetter hater, what the heck is this? Ping pong, ping, ping pong, ping, ping pong, ping, ping. It's the most monkey thing I've ever seen. You're a monkey. Zetter burn, more like monkey burn. You know what I'm saying? I'm just hating. I'm just a Zetter hater. It was sick, but I am sick and tired of shine, 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 man. That Crack definitely has opinions on your opinion. What the? True. This Crack is like, this game sucks. I can't do nothing. As a Locksman, I got a few opinions about this. Same, Locksman here. Yeah, that's so funny. I definitely would have started crying after getting hit by that. Good job on your end. No CC, no parry, terrible DI, beautiful combo. Yeah, the Crag didn't do much to... Well, he was trying to ASDI a lot, but he just could not escape. I just think he didn't know how to, like, what's the best option. Man, I am just a Zetter hater. If you do Zetter offstage stuff, amazing, sick, beautiful. But shine into anything? Get that out of here, get that out of here. The timing on this rage quit was hilarious to me. It's like Crag's F-Strong was so brutal the game to cut away. Bing, bong, boom. Dang, really close, really close. How are you gonna rage quit at this close of a percent? When it's 1-to-1. Yikes, that's that's really good. You received the win though. An uninterrupted purple didn't kill at LMBM 2025? Oh, purple is supposed to be a guaranteed kill. I wonder what happened. Let's see. Doink. What? I love Kekasol's face. He was like, huh? Wait, how's that possible? What happened here? What are the people saying? Cake's face says it all. That's what I'm saying. I was gonna say maybe, just maybe, he was able to SSDI down and get a perfect DI, but I didn't see the SSDI indicator, so it really didn't just kill. But the thing is, purple is supposed to be able to be a guaranteed kill no matter what. Even if you SSDI, even if you ASDI, yeah, it's supposed to be absolutely guaranteed. I guess the math just did a bad, I guess the math was just bad there. I'm sure the devs will be looking at that though. That is crazy. Stop worrying about the player base. This is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. To everyone obsessed with the fact that the numbers of concurrent players have steadily gone downhill, please stop posting about it. Clearly, those guilty of this aren't considering the inevitable spikes we'll see at every character release. If the numbers doesn't go up, even if it's slight, after Edel is released, then maybe we should be worried. But even then, just keep it to yourself. I love this game. I've gotten 3 friends into it, and surely more to come after getting a Steam Deck dock. I'm holding a nonchalant tournament with buddies soon, and those of you fretting should do something of a similar sort. Have faith, keep playing, don't worry, be happy. Yeah, I think the people who are worried, get your friends to play then, you know? What I want to do, and I have to like look at a venue that's good for it. I want to start a tournament series in SoCal, specifically LA. I need to find a good place that has computers, like an internet cafe, a PC room, who is willing to host it. But once I do, I want to start something in LA. So if you see a tournament happening, it might be hosted by me. Who knows? But I used to run tournaments in San Diego for Smash 4. It was at UCSD, and it was sick. At one point, we did become the biggest tournament in San Diego. We got like 60, 70 people weekly. It was amazing. But that died down. But now I'm like, maybe I want to start that for Rivals. Who knows? Let's see. I didn't know this, but you can apparently edge cancel the stun when you get parried. Yeah, that is true. So let's see it happen. If you guys didn't know, if you throw out an aerial, they parry, but you edge cancel it, you are free to go. Is that stupid? Maybe. Is it also fun and cool? Yeah. I love edge canceling. And if you're able to do it on purpose, okay, you definitely did that on accident. You definitely did that on accident, so never mind. That's stupid. Orcane is fun. Let's see how fun Orcane really is. Boink! Boink! Ooh, if you do, I love Orcane up air spikes. I think that's really sick. Ooh, the soft bear actually works. That's awesome. Combo, bimbo, bingo bongo. Oh my god, tech, please, crack, please. Ooh, oh, the stall on the side beat. Oh my god, amazing. You didn't have him kill on screen. Come on. Ooh, tech those. You gotta tech those. Ooh, spike. Oh, that works too. Ah. Okay, Orcane's cool. I like Orcane because of the safe up B, you're able to do crazy shenanigans off stage, and I am a sucker for off stage shenanigans. That's just sick. That's just sick. Bubble up B. Oh my god, up throw into a freaking puddle. Are you kidding me right now? That's so stupid. What else do you got? That's okay. Well, that's not an Orcane thing. You just got a roll read or what was it? There's more to watch if you want to see from visual purchase on Reddit. Go take a look. Roa 2 is a game where champions converge. Yeah, I have this saved because I want to look at it. As Smash and platform fighters have aged since Brawl, we always wanted to see who was the best at the most. M2K kind of held that title, then Void came along, but now there are so many games representing the genre, so many go for each. Is there any one game that could all meet? With Spargo proving his mettle today, and the W, aka Cody Schwab, aka IBDW, doing well as he did recently, Leffen being lingering menace, Mango maybe competing in Genesis? It looks like Rivals 2 could be the game where champions can come to converge, and I'm loving it, which is awesome. Yeah, I love that we see, like, people have natural players to cheer for now. The Rivals players can cheer for Marlin and Kickassault. The Smash players can cheer for Mars, Void, now Spargo. The Melee heads can cheer for IBDW, for Mango, for Leffen. I don't know if they're going to cheer for Leffen, but you know, he's a Melee player, so maybe they have to. There's PM players in the mix. There's NASB players in the mix. I mean, it's amazing. This is the first tournament of the year, and it's honestly really cool. And I hope Genesis is even cooler. I'm actually going to be at Genesis. You guys don't know what I look like, so you can't say hi. But it's going to be... I can't wait to play. I hope I make it out of pools. That's my one goal. I don't think I'm going to do it because I never made it out of pools in Smash 4, in Smash Ultimate. And that's the game that I played the most. Or Smash 4, and that's the game I played the most. But maybe I'm better at Rivals. Who knows? Pizza Lock should say, you don't deserve pizza. You don't deserve pizza. I think flour makes more sense because he says power. You don't deserve flour. You don't deserve pasta. Yeah, I like flour. This game has a lockstop pizza crisis. I will be breaking one spaghetti stand an hour until Dan fixes this. Crisis after crisis. Game is just full of crises. Would you say this is closest to the real character distribution, or is it far off? Yeah, I don't know why you did. I don't know why you did this. This is crazy. what is this? Why? But I would say so. I think the hardest characters, the easiest characters. There are a lot of Loxes. I do love my Lox. Yeah, I think this is a very accurate representation, and clearly a lot of people do too as well. You can look at Steam achievements to see relative popularities of the characters. Top 4 are Claren, Rano, Loxodon, and Zitterburn. Wow, maybe a lot of Clarens just stopped playing. I also don't see too many Clarens anymore. That's a wrap. That's a wrap. What are you doing? What is this happening? What is this happening in the Rivals community? I don't understand. All right, I'll take the L for everyone else dumb like me. I don't get it. Is that chicken supposed to look like elephant with a black dot as eye? I'm trying too hard. What is happening? Oh. All right. That is what Maple says. That's a wrap. That's so stupid. That's so stupid. Oh my god. Giraffe Loxodon. Very cute. I love Giraffe Loxodon. Super sick. People live way too long at late percents at Roa too. Very interesting. I guess I agree. I don't know if I've had too much of a problem because I'm Loxed and I have like big strong kill moves. But yeah. Ooh, this is interesting. 160 hours played. What I don't like about the game. Lots of gripes about this game could be get good issues, but the get good answers are not fun to me personally. After 160 hours and level 358 Force Burn, here are my main complaints about Rivals 2. That's a lot of levels, bro. Holy. CC. I've seen every argument about why CC is necessary, and none of it makes getting punished for landing a hit feel any better. I think that's what it is that getting punished on hit feels bad intuitively. I think it's a matter of understanding how this mechanic works. Reverse strong attacks, or as I like to call them, oopsie kill moves. Now I feel a little better about disliking things like reverse Zetter Fair being a nuke because Dan himself has told me he also doesn't like these with some exceptions. Now I'm not innocent. I've sold my fair share of stocks with reverse Force Bear and wasn't necessarily mean to get and felt grimy every time. Yeah, it's like the accidental reverse hits, which I think happen frequently, some on purpose. Like I'm able to get reverse Bear kind of consistently with Lox. But other moves, it's like, I didn't mean to do that. Game's a mash fest. The risk reward of just throwing out a tilt or jab after whiffing or getting hit, someone's shield is way too skewed. I think this again is just because this technique is very strong right now because we have no counterplay or we don't know what the counterplay is. But I think a similar problem happened with Smash Ultimate, but in Ultimate, people were able to figure it out, you know. I do think it would be more interesting if the game had whiff lag, but you know, we'll see if that happens. We'll see if that happens. Hit falling. What? I'll get a lot of hate on this because hit falling is a beloved mechanic. At first I loved it because it enabled cool combos, but then I started to resent it because it enabled any combo. You'll see these combo platter characters like Rano who can combo any move to any move, which is only exacerbated by hit falling. Once you learn to hit fall consistently, you can throw out any move and chain together 4 to 5 aerial combo. On Force Burn, I could go on with something cool like Nair 1 loops or into Dare tech chases, or just play fair up air you 8 times until you're off stage and be better for it. Yeah, I mean, I get it, but I think that's what's fun. It just allows for a lot of combos for a lot of people. I mean, it doesn't feel good to get hit by the same move 10 times in a row. I get it. But I think hit falling isn't the problem with that. I think it's just the way the combos work in this game. Slade isn't in yet. We need a Pirate Shark. True! And let's see what the people think. I agree with everything except hit falling. Yeah, I mean, hit falling is just core to Rivals. If you don't like hit falling, you don't like Rivals. I feel like. Here's my biggest one. You can get pretty far by just pushing buttons faster than your opponents. You can also react to something wrong if you did if you are fast enough. You can react again to catch your opponent, like you read a tech wrong, bolts right, and a switch left and make it punish for them. Yeah, so the tech chases are easier in this game than a game like Melee, which you can tech chase forever, you know what I mean? Which is kind of annoying. And it is like a little bit of a mash fest, but I think with like just retreating aerials and like waiting for an opponent's third option like we used to do in Ultimate, that'll like be what we have to do, because otherwise it is a bit tough. So that's about it for today's recap of Aether. If you like this kind of content and want to keep up with Rivals of Aether news, make sure to subscribe to my channel and ring the bell, because I don't know when I'm going to post. I want to post every week, but sometimes I can't. Life happens. So if you want to know what's going on, give me a little subscribe and hit the bell notification, and I'll appreciate you a lot. Alright, thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Maybe you'll watch a gameplay video. I don't know. Alright, bye-bye. Goodbye.